Welcome to Be Still and Notice, a yoga podcast. Join me, your host, yoga and meditation instructor Helen Taylor, to dive deeply into the vast ocean of wisdom that is yoga. Explore with me how these ancient practices can help heal and elevate us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in an ultra-modern world. Together, we'll deepen our practice, explore our connection to divinity and our own inner landscapes with the help of special guests, guided meditations, how-tos, and oh, so much more. Yoga has the incredible power to change your life on every level, and it all begins with stillness. Now let's begin. Hi everyone and welcome to season 3 episode 5, and I hope you're having a lovely week. This is coming out a day later than I wanted it to, but I have the lovely Vic William. We did an episode the end of last season together. My lovely friend Vic came to stay all the way from Spain for the weekend, so we had a beautiful time together. It was so nice. We went to a lovely sauna by the lake and we just talked each other's ears off, and had some much needed relaxing friends time together. It was so nice, women's time. So here we are. So a couple of weeks ago I had the pleasure of connecting and having a beautiful conversation with a lovely lady called Caroline Hughes. And Caroline's quite an amazing yoga teacher. She is an adaptive yoga teacher and she's a yoga therapist assistant, which is a role that we don't have here in the UK, and it made me think that we absolutely need it. It's kind of bridges the gap between being a full-blown physical therapist and a yoga teacher, actually. So you'll hear in the episode all about that. She's also a teaches restorative yoga, adaptive yoga, and she teaches and practices Thai massage therapy, which she uses a lot with her clients. So her clients range from completely paralysed, quadraplegic, to people that have had strokes and have mobility issues, seniors and people with general mobility issues. So I love this conversation with Caroline, because she's a very compassionate, beautiful human being and she has the most amazing voice. And what she has to share is so important, because, as you know, I always bang on about it here, that people are still intimidated by going into a yoga class. And what Caroline does really shows that yoga is for absolutely everybody, no matter what shape your body is in, no matter what your mobility is like. Yoga is infinitely adaptable. So it's a really lovely conversation. We were already talking about doing another episode and going a bit more in depth, perhaps later this season or next. So I hope you enjoy. And if you're somebody who is on the fence or knows somebody who's like, yoga's not for me, I'm not flexible, this is the episode for them, because you really will find out that yoga can be done no matter what your situation. There is always a way. So as always, grab a cuppa, have a comfy seat. If you're driving, settle in for a long drive, and I really hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, lovely Caroline.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, so nice. Welcome to the podcast. So me and Caroline, we just had a few technical issues. a few.
Just a couple.
Yeah, no, nothing we couldn't handle. Nothing we couldn't handle. And Caroline, you're coming from. You're in Corsica right now.
Yes, I'm in Ajaccio, just to the west side of Corsica.
Oh, amazing. I've
Mhm.
never been, but I've always heard that it's beautiful, and looking at your stories on Instagram, oh, the crystal blue sea. Tell me, what's it like over there?
Yeah, I come from the US. I'm from New Orleans, and when I first met my husband who lives in Corsica and he told me he lived on this beautiful island, I had to do a geography check for a moment because I didn't remember even exactly where this was. And so you get this beauty of both Italian and French culture here because it has been under both flags at one point in time or another. There's all the Italian food you could dream of.
Wow.
Uh, and it also has this Amalfi Coast kind of feeling, but it's not quite as touristy. And the views are just insane. I mean, you have 8,000-foot high mountains
Wow.
and crystal clear blue waters. I love also that the rocks are different colors in different parts of the island. So if you're in the
Mm.
south in Bonifacio, you have white rock, white limestone cliffs with little cities perched on top. And the contrast of that with the blue water is really something. And then in the west central part of Corsica, you have this place called Piana, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I believe it's called the Calanque de Piana, but there's red rock on
Oh,
that side of the
wow.
island. And then if you go to the center, it's more gray. And there's this very famous trail. It's called the GR20. It's supposed to be the
Oh, I've
most
heard of that.
dangerous and most intense hiking trails in all of Europe. So there's a big population of hikers who like to come here and do the GR20, whether for fun over the course of several weeks or for sport, doing ultra marathons and stuff like that. So it's an
Wow.
interesting mixture of the tourists who do come to visit here. Normally, it's people from France or Italians, and other than that, it's just really quiet. I'm only one of uh, two Americans that I know on the island, which makes it, feel
Really, on the whole
even more
island?
like this little private bubble, of a place where just many people seem to not have even heard of it.
I love that. I love that. It sounds absolutely gorgeous. I so want to go, and where you are looks really lovely. Looks dreamy, dreamy, dreamy.
Oh, thank you. It's
So,
it's a dream for real.
so Caroline, so you are. So let's just have a little bit background for everyone here. So we've connected, actually on a business course, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah.
um,
FBA.
FBA, yeah, with the lovely Jill Lockwood, which has been absolutely brilliant, hasn't it? But we've connected because there's not many yoga teachers on there. It's mainly personal trainers and people that are more in the kind of fitness industry. So I actually reached out to Caroline. I was like, "What are you doing with this?" It was so, so helpful, and she was really, really lovely. And when I saw, Caroline, what you were doing, I was like, I really need to get you on the podcast because you run a company called Accessible Yoga Practices,
Yes, that's my little yoga business.
and you are a yoga teacher, but not just a yoga teacher. So your practices run into adaptive yoga, restorative yoga, yoga therapy, and also, so you work a lot with people with disabilities, paraplegics, people with spinal
Hmm.
cord injuries. This is like amazing. And you're a physical therapist assistant. Is that right?
Hmm. Yes, which from my understanding is not a job anywhere else in the world except in the US. Because for physical therapy degrees in the US, you have to have a doctorate level. So
Right.
the assistants kind of fill the gap between um, just to still provide patient care. So I mostly work with people while the doctors of physical therapy are doing evaluations and are communicating with insurance companies. So it was nice because it was only a 2-year program, but I still learned the bulk of physical therapy, what it does, the exercises, the anatomy, the pathology, which really helped fill a lot of gaps and questions that I had during my yoga teacher training and after, when I started working with people doing adaptive yoga. I really wanted to learn more about like the movement science and also the whole phase of rehab that people go through after an event like a spinal cord injury or a stroke, or if someone's diagnosed with a neuromuscular condition, a progressive neuromuscular condition like Parkinson's
Mm.
or multiple sclerosis. I just really wanted to learn how to bring the yoga practice to this population because um, I saw how it helped me so much with stress and anxiety, and I thought that maybe it could help other people too who weren't seen in yoga studios as frequently.
And this is something that I kind of have have spoken out about definitely on the podcast, because it's, isn't it incredible, like even now so many people, able-bodied people, like more than able-bodied people, don't go into yoga studios because, let alone people with any kind of injury or physical disability, because they're so put off by this kind of, to do yoga you need to be X, Y, and Z. And it's just wrong, isn't it?
It is, and I really think it takes education around the topic, and it also shows this lack of safety that people feel, or maybe trust that people feel with teachers, which I think is also why adaptive yoga does require substantial amounts of continuing education and confidence. And, people, I think, are really fearful of being hurt more or of just maybe they've been put off from bad past experiences. But yoga really is this performative art on social media. And it
Yeah.
looks like it's this, there's this teacher, Rodrigo Souza, who's a paraplegic and teaches yoga. And he often says, like, everyone thinks that you have to put your leg behind your head to practice yoga, or you have to be able to stand on your hands. And um, that's just a big, huge disservice to what yoga really is about
Yeah, yeah.
at its heart.
And this really is why I thought you'd be an amazing fit for the podcast, because this is the core of my message, and what I want to speak to with people about is that what yoga really is about. So I really feel like you do that with your work, because you're saying you can do it whatever. You can do, yoga is for everybody. So thank you. Can you tell me more about adaptive yoga and what that actually is?
Yeah, I started taking adaptive yoga classes because I had a really gnarly wrist injury. I was going to 3 very intense vinyasa classes every week as a part of my yoga teacher training. And after 6 months of doing that, my wrist developed some pretty severe tendonitis, and I had arthritis in my wrist from a past injury. And one of my teachers, one of my mentors, she worked with people who had all sorts of disabilities and injuries. So she exposed me to adaptive yoga. She had also studied with Matthew Stanford, who is a yoga teacher from the US. I believe he's in Michigan or Montana. He created this company called Mind Body Solutions, where uh, 30 years ago, he really coined the term adaptive yoga. He has a spinal cord injury and has been sharing the yoga practice for 50 years, I think, or something like that at this point. And many people who took adaptive yoga trainings went to study with him and take his courses. So Kelly was my mentor. She shared Matthew's teachings with me in a few adaptive yoga courses. She's also a part of the CIAYT, the International Association of Yoga Therapists. So I glued myself to her and just took every course she had. I would go sit in her private sessions with students who allowed that so that when she went out of town, I could work with her students. It was just this big, exciting style of yoga that really got me creative and to think outside of the box. And it inspired me to study Thai massage in Thailand and then to go back to school to become a physical therapist assistant. Um, and when I got out of the PTA program, I got a job at a really rad place called Split Second Fitness, which was a gym and community center for people with all sorts of disabilities in New Orleans. It's really unfortunate. I don't know if this is the same in the UK, but after someone has a new injury, like a big life changing injury, they go through the medical model pretty quickly. Like you go through the hospital setting, rehab, then you go back home and you continue therapy. But at some point, the therapy stops. And
Yeah.
there's this missed opportunity, I think, for people to be really meaningfully integrated back into society. So, Split Second filled this beautiful gap of creating a community space for people to come and continue working on their fitness goals, on their health, on their wellness, on their mental health. And I got to work there for 3 years. And so, during my time there, I worked with everyone who had all sorts of pathological conditions. And it was amazing because they were like, all right, here's a budget, get what you sorts of yoga props you need. So I was able to really go all out. We had all the blocks, all the straps, the bolsters. I mean,
Get it
because you have,
all.
yes, it was so exciting, such exciting times. And also, people made donations of yoga mats. And I was able to grow like a small yoga program there. But I think the real joy was getting to teach people privately, um, and learn about tone management and how the yoga practice can help. How I could share breathing practices with people that they could do when they were going for a CT scan or an MRI. And the things I heard from people were just, people would be like, uh, they would be so grateful for learning these practices. They'd be like, it's all because of you. And I'm like, no, it's because of you, because you have the interest, you keep showing up, you're consistent, you're curious. These are the things that are required of good yoga students. And it was cool also because even with the people, with many people, I'd be like, get this yoga pose we're going to do. But for people who were maybe older and didn't believe they were practicing yoga, I could kind of spin it off as fitness or physical therapy. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what adaptive yoga is to me. It's just being able to meet the person exactly where they are, to show them ways that they can practice yoga, to show them ways that they can use yoga as a form of therapy and of healing. And um, it just takes people to think more creatively.
Oh, this place sounds amazing. And I can just, in my mind's eye, I can see you there. And just really, you sound like someone who just really loves to learn and give and be in savor, in service. And I can imagine that you just must have learned so much there if you're seeing all these different people and you could really grow as a teacher, all these different people with all these different conditions. And I think you're so right, because I've been in a situation, earlier when you were talking about becoming a physical therapist assistant and how it filled the gap. So I
Hmm.
remember really early on in my teaching, actually doing some work with someone that was in their 80s. And your stuff on Instagram is brilliant. Your videos and reels about like one simple thing, how to help someone get up off the floor, which is actually so important. But I remember years ago, now I have more of an idea, but as a yoga teacher, there is that gap. And I was like, hang on, I really don't know. I'm gonna have to just wing this. And luckily, I helped them, but I don't know that it was that safe as it could have been if I had
We do our best.
yeah, you know. But I think it makes a lot of sense, and I love the journey that you've been on and how it's kind of carried you all the way through. So you also talked about your Thai massage therapy. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it started in 2018. Kelly, my mentor, my yoga therapist mentor, I had taken all of her classes, all of her courses, and I still wanted to learn more. So I asked her, what should I do next? She was like, well, you should go to Thailand and study Thai
Yes.
massage. I was like 26 years old. I was teaching yoga part time and bartending for the other part of the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm in a position where I can save up a little money and go to Thailand. And that
Why the
sounds
hell
really
not?
fun. Why not? Yeah. And I remember someone told me at some point in my life, like, don't wait around for someone to be with you. Don't wait for the perfect partner for you to go to
Mm.
Thailand. Like, just do the things that your heart's feeling called to do on your own. It's okay. You're going to be fine. So I took that guidance to heart. And one night I was bartending and it was 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. And I remember sitting in this bar and smelling the smells and just feeling so disconnected from that world. And I got a notification on my phone that showed this flight that I was looking at from New York to Bangkok had dropped like $300. It was like $500 round trip. And I remember just booking it right then and there and knowing that it was divine timing and that I was going to figure out the rest. So I went to Thailand in August. It was the rainy season. I was in Chiang Mai and had heard of the school, Sunshine Massage School, that they spoke English. And I signed up for their 2-week-long beginners course where you learn how to give a 3-hour massage, which as a Westerner was not in my not even in my realm of possibilities. And I had received some work from Kelly before, but I didn't really even know what Thai massage was.
And I have to say, I've experienced, I've had Thai massage, I think once, no, twice. And again, I know nothing about it. And one was a negative experience and one was a positive experience. So I'd
Yeah.
love it if you could explain, because I don't think many people have had it. So if you could explain what it
Yeah.
involves.
Yes. So it's much like a yoga practice, except it's passive. Thailand and India have a lot of interesting connections. You see how the Buddhism practice of Thailand has really come from northern India and from Tibet. You also see the connection of Hinduism in Thai culture. There are certain holidays that support various gods and goddesses from the Hindu tradition. So there's been this exchange culturally between the two countries for a very long time, thousands and thousands of years. So the idea from Thai massage is that you do a lot of similar postures that one might do in a yoga practice, but it is passively received. Some people call Thai massage lazy man's yoga, which I think is so funny. But it does play off of also in yoga, there's the Sushumna Nadi, the central energetic channel of the body. And in Thai massage, they call it Sumana, Sin Sumana.
Similar, yeah.
Um, there's also the Ida, which is the left side of the body that represents the moon side, femininity, creativity, the moon, and the right side, which is Pingala, which represents masculinity, action, the sun side. And you see that in Thai massage too. It's Ida and Pingala also,
Yeah.
the same name. There are all of these energy channels that run through the body. In yoga, they believe there's 20,000 energy lines
These are
called
the nadis.
nadis.
Yeah, the nadis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in Thai massage, there's the same concept, but there's sin lines. But there are many of them, but in the traditional form that you learn in Thai massage, there's 10. So there's 10 sin lines, and these sin lines run, they're also, there's ties to traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. There are these sites of the body, and then when you approach it from the Western medical model, there are arteries and blood vessels and veins and lymphatic vessels that all flow along these similar rivers throughout the body. So in Thai massage, typically you start by doing palming and thumbing along these energy lines to help establish a better flow of blood, of lymph throughout the body, of energy, whatever you want to call it, chi, prana. And then you bring people through a series of different types of stretches to help further open up these energy lines. And it's a practice that anybody with a body can do and can benefit from. But of course, like yoga teachers, Thai massage practitioners vary greatly. Some
Yeah.
people have taken a 2-week course like I did. I've since taken maybe 30 courses in Thai massage
Oh,
because my
wow.
husband teaches too, and I get to come with him. And I've also, just every time I'm in Thailand, I take a few courses to keep learning. And there are people who are quite skilled and who have a lot of experience working with it, who might have a medical background as well. And then you have people who are the newbies, and the people who are just learning, or the people who don't do it from their heart. So you can really get a mixed bag when you just say you're going to get a Thai massage. But it can be a really skillful practice for therapists to incorporate, especially if they want to become more skillful with their hands. But it's a huge learning curve, much
Mm.
like learning to be a yoga teacher. It's like you have to learn the vocabulary, you have to learn the postures, the alignment, the drishti. But with Thai massage, you really have to learn how to become very receptive with your hands. You have to learn the landmarks of the body, the different bony prominences, the areas to
Mm.
avoid. You need to learn how different parts of the body require different amounts of force and pressure. And
Uh,
knowing your anatomy is so important.
Yeah, I can imagine. And just I'm just thinking here and like trying to put myself in your shoes. How does it work? So with the feedback from the person that you're working on, so you're working on someone's body, how do you know? Do you ask them for like verbal feedback, or is it like an energetic, like a feeling and a sense? How does that work?
Yeah, I like to think about the palming and thumbing in the beginning of the massage as being like an opportunity to read into the muscle. It does become a bit more intuitive the more you experience different people's bodies and um, tension and tightness. So I really scan, and I'm feeling for tension, for tightness, for hyperactivity in muscles, like maybe someone's guarding or clenching. Also, my husband's coming, so if you hear anything, that's what it is. um, but you develop this sense of touch, and I always establish a very strong. It it's very important for me to establish a connection with the person who is receiving from me. Is that, I'm not living in your body. I don't know what it is that you're feeling. I know how this feels for me, but if something is uncomfortable for you, like, please let me know. And I also err on the side of being really cautious, especially because of my experience working with people with disabilities.
Mm.
Um, some people have osteoporosis and or like a brittle bone condition, and there's no need to really force or contort anybody's body. I mean, I wouldn't do that anyways. So it's nice to have the clinical side from physical therapy to help me judge what someone needs, but of course, the person who's receiving is always in communication with me. Sometimes they might fall asleep, but um,
That's a
I
good
like,
sign, right?
yeah, that's a really good sign. That's when the body's like feeling safe and trusted and can let go. And that's where real healing can happen. But for some people, it takes time to establish that trust and those connections.
Yeah.
And for some people, you know, maybe someone has fibromyalgia and they experience a lot of pain in their body, and sometimes touch isn't indicated. You know, it's not always the best thing for somebody, but it can be with the right therapist.
And so, how does Thai massage integrate with the rest of your work? So, say you have, because I know you do mostly online, you work with people mostly online.
Yeah, I moved to Corsica last year. Um, I had many clients who I could work with online. You know, the pandemic kind of showed me that it was possible. And if
Mm.
anything, it was almost more empowering because I wasn't there to help people as much. There's a real beauty in struggle uh, when people figure something out themselves. And I remember learning this in school. There's this saying called learned helplessness, where after someone develops a big disability, their caregiver might step into overdrive and feel like they need to do everything for this person and this individual, which is terrible because it ultimately depletes the energy of the caregiver. And it also takes away the independence of the person who's navigating this new form. And
Yeah.
actually, to be able to do things like really simple things like prepare a meal. Um, you know, of course, it depends on the person and their level of function, but the more you give these individuals, the better outcomes they have, because they are like every little movement counts, whether you're doing laundry or you're doing a yoga practice. So, yeah, I think doing stuff online has been, it's not for everybody, but it's been really beautiful to see some of the people who I've continued to work with online and how they've figured new things out and have discovered, you know, like their balance, some of their balance has been improving. And it's really cool to see that through the power of the internet.
Yeah, and I think that's where I love that. And it would be easy because for us able-bodied people, very luckily, haven't ever been in a situation like that. Although I have a hip issue, which means that I have had to really, really change my practice. I've got a cam impingement on my right hip.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's
so
a cam?
so I don't know if it's got a different name in the US, but it's like a bony formation in the hip joint, which means that the ball doesn't rotate smoothly in the socket.
Mm.
It's like and feet, and I have a back problem as well, and the two are connected, so I can't hinge forward. So forward folds, any kind of external rotation. So using normal speak, turning my leg out to the side, sitting cross-legged. I mean, I can do those things, but I end up with a lot of back pain, so secondary pain. And I found this amazing physio who did a scan on me and told me what it was. And he said it's quite easily fixed, but I need to get it sorted. Anyway, long story short, he said, you can do these things, but you'll continue to be in pain and it will make it worse. And I was like, okay, just tell me what I need to avoid. And he was like, right. I could sit cross-legged all day, but I chose to listen to his advice, which was amazing. And now I avoid pain by just doing things differently. But it was it was kind of like a heartache for me, like a death of my practice, and learning to sit. Now I sit on a bolster. I do sun salutations in a very modified way, but it's really that's the point I'm getting to is it's really informed my teaching for other people as well.
Mhm.
Because I think the more kind of able-bodied you are and very flexible, certain very flexible teachers actually, some that I've met don't have that sense of understanding because they've not experienced it. But also for someone like you that's done all of these amazing courses and learning and teaching, going through it, giving someone that sense of independence, of agency, of like, I can do it. I think that's so needed, isn't it? That's so needed.
Yeah, absolutely. We all want to feel accomplished,
Yeah.
especially when our bodies are not as they once were.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a big grief, like you mentioned, of thinking like this is how I used to love this thing and now I can't quite reach it like
Yeah.
I once could. And I think what you were mentioning is we call it a bone spur in the US,
Oh,
maybe.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which are quite common in women over 40 and 50 years old. It's I think also hormonal changes, and it's something that it changes our practice so much. Um, I used to love doing arm balances and handstands. Like I was like the gymnast yogi.
Oh,
And
wow.
there was a big turn. Yeah, it was a big
Right.
turn. And I still have moments where I'm upset with my wrist because
Mm.
it's still, it never really, I say this to people a lot. It's like yoga is really about finding self compassion through those big changes, which we inevitably will go through in life.
Mm.
And it's, when I have moments, I catch myself, I'm like, I need a surgery on this wrist and I'll be able to do my handstands again. And it's like, maybe, I just need to have more compassion
Yeah.
towards myself
Yeah.
in this moment. But that's the beauty of adaptive yoga, really, is that it reminds people, regardless of if they have a bone spur or wrist arthritis or spinal cord injury, that the practice is still very much accessible.
Yeah.
It might look different, but honestly, I think it looks more advanced when you learn how to accommodate for your needs and when you know how to, like, this is me actually taking care of myself by not doing deep forward folds and not sitting cross legged. This is actually like a really radical act of self care.
Yeah.
And actually, I feel better. I feel better when I finish my practice.
And really, you've taken, like, I love what you just said about it being more advanced, because a lot of people think advanced yoga means really advanced asana practice, like crazy poses, gymnastic poses, like you just said. But to me, in my mind, the advanced yoga, and actually according to the scriptures, right, when you read Patanjali and the asana is like the tiniest part of the 8 limbs. The rest is vast, meditation, self-compassion, the yamas, the niyamas, how we treat each other, how we, exactly what you just said, how we talk to ourselves is like so vital. And I do think it takes a certain amount of you're right, there's a death of the self, there's a death of that ego comes out of the equation, because that part of all of us that wants to do that thing, why do we really want to do that thing? Is it because it makes us feel good, or is it because there's an ego attachment that we're like, it looks cool, it feels cool in the moment, whatever it might be, it could be loads of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so taking your ego out of that and then putting what's really important first, I think it takes courage, and I love seeing this in my clients too, when they move beyond the physical and really into the realms of self-love, self-compassion. I mean, do you find that comes a lot into your teaching with your clients, or not so much?
I've actually had a real sit and analyzing with this question the past couple of days. It's funny you bring it up
Oh, right.
because I sometimes feel like I went so into the physical realm of healing that I forgot to teach many of my students from split second and some of my students like the eight limbs or different breathing practices or different meditation practices. And I think I have to forgive myself and, just not be such a perfectionist. But, but yeah, you're always wondering, like, how could I improve later down the line? And I love the philosophical and the devotional practices, especially that I've learned more about, I would say, within the past year of spending more time in different cultures where the spirituality is not like the main form of spirituality is not Christianity. Like I've been learning a lot more from Buddhist and Hindu perspectives of devotion. And those things I'm feeling more called to share as I think I get wiser on this journey of um, my spiritual evolution and yoga evolution revolution.
Both.
um, both yeah, so I wish I and I want to share longer form, like you were just mentioning, the podcast is a long form of content. It's not just like the Instagram content where you're just trying to get 30 seconds of someone's attention. You're really being more intentional and diving into um, the heart and the soul of the practice, which really, like you
Mm.
mentioned, it's not the physical.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you've described is what most teachers experience. And I know it's been exactly that for me because it starts off somewhere and normally it is more towards the physical. And somewhere along the line, we're growing all the time, aren't we? We're just growing and learning if we're open to it as teachers. And totally, it's the same for practitioners, isn't it? It just, and this is something I'm all tingly all over, and this is something I absolutely adore about yoga, is there's no limit. It grows and morphs and just evolves with you. It's just there. It can take
Hmm.
many, many shapes. You can go in, there's something for everyone. Some people might start off really into breath work, pranayama or asana, or some people start with meditation, and then it changes because we change all the time, don't we? We're constantly growing and evolving. And I love that. I love that. And it's definitely been the case for me. And my back and this hip thing has actually really, really helped me. Like really. And you're so right about, being it's funny that you said you're a perfectionist, but letting go letting go of that and just going, well, it's here now, you've noticed it now, and then I'm sure in the coming years it will just happen naturally, more and more naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. And we carry the teachings with us all the time. I think
Mm.
there's also this idea that it's yoga. And I've been also thinking and exploring with this idea of like it's nothing. It just is. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it doesn't have to have a name even. It's it's our connection to spirit. It's our connection to soul. It's the whole journey. You look back when you were young and it's even like yeah, I feel like we have to give labels to everything. And it's like, no, we really don't. It's
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a very Western thing. And I was having just this conversation on Friday, in another episode with another amazing guest. I think you'll really enjoy that one. Exactly the same thing. She's like, why do we need to label it? And I think once you've experienced, true yoga, that connection with self, connection with source, whatever you want to call it, because everyone calls it different things. I like to call it source or universe. You can't put it into words because it's formless, right? It's really difficult to use words that express that. It's a feeling. It's, you know, it's something energetic. You've just
Yeah.
finished doing a really beautiful retreat in Bali. Oh my God, that looked amazing.
It was, it exceeded my own expectations,
Really?
really. And it's just, you can't put in a program or on a flyer like these experiences that you're about to have. And also, what made the trip so special was, you know, we had a really intimate group. It was 9 of us, and one of my friends in Bali, he's a coordinator and a driver, and helped me put it all together, and has helped me every time I've been to Bali to, you know, show me new things and explain the culture to me so much more, and to bring me to different temples and priests and walk me through the spiritual traditions. And I think that was just, it was like being high uh, in these really epic places with very rich cultures that have been around for thousands of years. And I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity, to have had people trust me and to bring them to some of the places that have woken me up out of what sometimes feels like, you know, now that I am on the other side of living outside of America for the past year, like I look back to who I was before that and I see just how conditioned I was and how there was this path set before me. It's like, you know, you go to school and then you go to college and you get a degree and then you find a job and you stay in this job forever and work and work and work and work and work some more. And now that I've kind of broken out of that, you know, thanks to definitely the support of my husband for encouraging me to go out on my own and to work for myself. But just to see, like, every time I went to Bali and every time I went to Thailand, I would discover that life didn't have to be this like point A to point B way. And actually, I felt the most alive when I wasn't working. You know, I love what I do for work,
Yeah.
but also to just lean more into, and I think Europeans maybe have a better understanding of this like work life balance, maybe not, but um, that was something that really stood out to me on this trip was to see other people's, like, for some of them, it was the first time out of the country, and
Wow. That's
just to
massive.
see their wonder and awe. And you know that the trip continues when they go back home because it's
Yeah.
left this massive imprint. So it was just really cool to share all these like spiritual experiences with people, these very human experiences with people. Like, you know, it's something like I got sick and lost my voice and it was my yoga. I was trying to teach yoga. It's, you know, it's just part of uh, the journey. And it was so beautiful to see people. They were like, well, when are you doing this? Like, you're going to Thailand and doing this again too, right? Like, I want to come, I want to explore Thailand with you. And, you know,
Amazing.
hopefully it just takes people's comfort zone and just widens it a little more and helps them realize that life can be lived in a million different ways.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Travel has always been, I think it's so expansive. So, and it makes us, especially going somewhere for like your first time out of the US, going somewhere like Bali. And
Right.
whoa, because but it's the spiritual, everything is just right on the street. It's just there everywhere, isn't it? Everywhere, all the lovely little shrines and temples and little puja offerings they do all the time. And you went
Yes.
during that's when I went. I went with my ex-partner during that big festival where they have a couple of,
Galawande.
yeah, yeah, that we were there at the
Oh,
same time. And actually I think we were flying out. We had to change our flight because we booked our flight on the silent day when nothing happens. So we were like, oh
oh,
no, we can't, you know, um,
the
can't
airport is
remember.
closed.
Yeah. I can't remember the story around it, or we had to, yeah, I think we actually ended up going the day earlier because of that. And I was sad because I wanted to experience that there. But Yeah, I mean, what a privilege to guide people on their first ever trip out the US. That's massive.
Yeah.
And so how does it work? Like, just I was just thinking about the practical things. So these are people with disabilities, people in wheelchairs, people with all sorts of,
Well,
or is it?
I not so much. It's more able-bodied people who come on my retreats
Ah, okay.
just because of disability as a whole, I think. I think for people to travel that far, I think for people to risk airlines handling their very precious medical equipment is like, it's a big, scary thing.
That's what I was wondering.
But
Yeah.
I have had a wheelchair user, a friend of mine who is a wheelchair user. She has multiple sclerosis. She came with us to Thailand last year,
Oh,
which was
amazing.
a learning experience for all of us. I've done some traveling with my other friends who are disabled because I joined them as a caretaker for this political event. It was like a disability rights lobbying event where we scheduled all these meetings with senators and went around and spoke about the importance of caregivers and of health insurance. You know, we're still
Yeah.
having this debate in the US whether everyone should have health insurance or not, which is so terrible. But because of this, you know, I've seen just how difficult it can be for some people to travel,
Mm.
which is a reality. Like, does this person, when they show up to their hotel, do they know that they're going to have a wheelchair accessible hotel room? No. Do they know they're going to be able to take a shower for weeks while they're traveling? No. Uh, what happens in the medical event, you know, that they need to go somewhere? So, this is something that I'm really thinking about and giving a lot of time and consideration to because traveling is, it should be a human right. You know,
Yeah.
also just airlines themselves are terribly lacking accessibility awareness. But um, my hope, you know, my friend Ashley, who came with us, like we made it work. She's ambulatory. She can walk a little bit. That's what some people don't realize about people who use wheelchairs is some of them are able to stand and walk, maybe not far or fast or for long distances, or maybe it's incredibly painful. But there are ways we were able to, I mean, some of the stuff we did with Ashley was absolutely insane. You know, we like picked her up and in her wheelchair and put her on a ferry on a boat that brought us to this tiny island off the coast of Bangkok. And you know, she was down. She was scared. We were all terrified, but with 10 people
Oh
shepherding
my
her
God, it's
onto and off of the
amazing.
boat, we made it work by the grace of God.
Wow.
But yeah, there were things I learned on that trip. And also, I have the absolute pleasure of being in Thailand for long stretches of time. And while my husband and I love Corsica, we love Thailand a little bit more for
Mm,
different reasons.
mm.
But, you know, now that I have this kind of improved lens of accessibility needs, like I see places all over Thailand that I'm like, oh, this is super accessible.
Oh,
This is
amazing.
beautifully accessible. So I'm making these lists in my head so that when I have people reach out to me about retreats, because I will continue offering retreats, it's so much fun. It just, oh my gosh, my heart cracked open in so many ways. And that in person connection, there's nothing like it,
Yeah.
especially in these times. But I'm gonna make proposals to people and be like, "Look, if you wanna come on this group trip, there are gonna be these days and we're doing these things, and it's gonna be terribly hard for you to participate. It's possible with certain people, certain abilities, but if you wanna come next week, the week after the retreat, I'll bring you on your own personal experience, and
Oh,
it will
wow.
be totally customized to you and your needs, your family, and, you know, it could be Corsica, it could be France, it could be Thailand, it could be Bali. But, you know, that way it will give me time to ensure that this person's going to have like an easy trip and a beautiful one at that.
Oh, Caroline, what a gorgeous thing to do for someone as well. Like, I bet that just massively fills your cup. Like the idea of that and doing that for your friend in Thailand, I can just only imagine. Like, oh, you must have felt so wonderful to be able to do that for them, and they must have been just great. And you're right, it's a massive problem. Like, whenever I've been on a flight and the poor, I, that disabled people are kind of treated like cattle. I'm just going to say it. It's just like,
Yeah,
wait till everyone else is off, do this, do that. And it's just, in this day and age, they really need to think about this well. They really need
right.
to design these
With
planes with special sections that, like, come on.
right, and have limited, just have two spots where people can roll their
Yeah,
wheelchairs on and lock themselves in safely.
yeah,
Like we figured out how to get people who use wheelchairs into vans, into buses, into trains, on the metro. Like, why is there? And I mean, I know why. It all comes down to money
money.
and legality amongst various different cultures. I think those are the hardest points. But the airline industry as a whole, they really need to figure something out. Maybe even creating planes just specifically for people who use wheelchairs or who have medical needs. It's and that really shouldn't even be a conversation. They should just be able to get on board. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, it's a weight thing. It's like, yeah, but they're putting their wheelchairs on the same plane. So it's not a weight thing.
No, it's not right. No, it's like you're right. They want to get as many bums on seats. It's always money. I don't know about the international legalities of it, but I can imagine that they probably just, to modify a big plane is going to cost a lot of money. And anyway,
Yeah.
I think it's now they're doing so many different things. Now a lot of people are flying their pets more. I've seen that there are these companies that they have just animal only.
I've
So
seen this too. It's
yeah,
wild.
so cool. So if we can do it for our beloved doggies and cats and whatever, come on, we can do it for
Right.
humans.
You can do it for humans. Oh my gosh. It's just insane when you put it that way. It really is like
Absolutely.
people are honestly treated like second or third class citizens just because of their disability. And I think
Yeah.
I saw that and it just made me really angry. And I
Mm.
saw that in the yoga spaces and it hurt me. It hurt my heart. And I think those are always catalysts for change and for reform.
Mm.
But disability is one of those things that it will affect us all in some form or fashion in our lifetime. If we live till we're in our 50s and 60s and beyond, whether that's a parent developing a disability or a friend getting into a car accident or someone in your life being diagnosed with MS, which is why I really want to start offering online courses for adaptive yoga because it's such an important skill set to have. I think
Mhm.
it's not just for yoga teachers, it's for caregivers, it's for people with disabilities, it's for physical therapists and occupational therapists to make therapy more meaningful for their patients. It's very, a lot of people can benefit from it. I think there's a statistic that like 1 in 4 or 5 people have a disability.
That's high.
It's super high.
Yeah.
Or something that affects their physical mobility
Mm.
and yeah, it's yoga is just definitely not one of those things that's just reserved or travel for that matter. It's not something that's just reserved for able-bodied people.
No.
Everyone wants to experience these beautiful life-changing practices and trips.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said earlier, it should be a human right. Everyone deserves access to these things. So tell me, how can people work with you? Um, yeah, how can people work with you?
Yeah, uh, I'm seeing some clients online on Zoom, and I have some 6 or 12 week containers that are currently open. I have room for maybe 1 or 2 more clients at the moment. Um, you would just need to email me hello@accessibleyogapractices.com. You could send me a DM on my Instagram page, or yeah, those are probably the best 2 ways. You could also visit my website and submit a form there to work with me. I have a client application form that you would just need to fill out and to assess whether or not I'm the best person to help you. And
Yeah.
then we would go from there. And I also just added, I have some retreats coming up. So The one in May is going to be to Thailand. I haven't nailed down the dates as of yet, but this is a retreat for therapists or for yoga teachers who want to learn about Thai massage. So we'll
Oh,
take
amazing.
a 3-day long Thai massage course. We're going to explore some of our favorite sites in Bangkok and do a lot of temple visits, learn more about Buddhism and some of the spiritual practices of like, how do you go to a temple? What sorts of things do you do? How do you make merit? We would also go to the beach for a couple days to Koh Samet. And so you'll get a little blend of the mountains in Chiang Mai, the city of Bangkok, and its craziness. And then in Koh Samet, we would do yoga and meditation. And then I've also got a retreat to Bali. Again, we're going to go in June, and it'll be a very similar format. We're going to spend 5 days on the ocean, on the beach at this beautiful resort with an open air yoga shala, doing excursions like going out on the boat and snorkeling and going to the Besaki Mother Temple. And then after, go spend 5 days in Ubud and explore the arts and culture of Ubud, staying at this beautiful, another really incredible resort that has all these cool classes and courses. And we would have a big yoga shala there and go on lots of adventures, taking time for
Amazing.
ourselves, and just enjoying all that Bali and Thailand have to offer.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there.
Come on, Helen, let's go.
Well, when we first started chatting on Instagram, I was like, oh, it's like, and it's like one of my favorite places. Thailand is one of my favorite places. I've been a few times, not as much as you, but I think it's the people, the culture, the energy that is so beautiful. It's just, oh, I could move there. And it's so exciting that you're doing all these offerings, and so you just spent 3 months in Thailand, didn't you? Living
Yeah,
out.
we were 3 months. We did Thailand, Vietnam, and I went to Bali. And then we're hoping to go back this winter. I actually got my digital nomad visa for Thailand.
Well done.
So thank
Exciting.
you. It was the most exciting email I've opened all year. And we plan to be down there for probably 6 months,
Oh, wow.
if we can, or longer.
I love it. It's a whole new life. So exciting.
Yeah, very, very new, very different life. If you had told me this 2 years ago, this is where I would be, I would have a hard time believing it. But life opens up in beautiful and unexpected ways.
Oh, I love it so much. I love that. And so I'm going to put all of the details of how people can find you, how people can work with you in the show notes. So if you want to reach out to Caroline, it's going to be amazing. She'll be able to help you in incredible ways. So I'm going to put everything there so that you can contact her there. And really, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Well,
It's
thank you for having me. This was such a nice chat. And I want to get to learn more about you too.
definitely. We will talk more. And if you'd like to come back on the podcast, I can hear your husband cooking dinner.
He's chopping some vegetables.
I hope he's cooking that Thai food. What is he cooking? Oh no, you're in Corsica now. What's he cooking?
Yeah, it's pasta and vegetables.
Nice, nice. Well, enjoy your lunch.
Thank you
And
so much.
and yeah, I'd love to have you back on sometime, because I think what you do is so important and so beautiful. And well, thank you for being a gift to people that really, really need that support.
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate it. And have it's great to be able to share with anyone who's open to learning more.
Amazing. Okay. Have a beautiful day, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right, you do the same. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Still and Notice podcast. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and perhaps it even added something to your life. If you know someone that might benefit, please share this episode with them. And of course, a review would be so much appreciated. Please find all the information relating to this episode, including relevant links, in the show notes. And until next time, sending you so much love and light on your path to yoga.